I want you to picture this. This is you. And you decide that you want to restart, move away. You're going to a new school. You are finding a new job. You are eloping, whatever you're choosing to do. And you have now arrived to your new city. You don't know what's going on. It's totally different. It's totally new. You're worried. You're scared. The career is confused. You're nervous. You might be overwhelmed. You might be lost. You might be fearful. But then,
your fairy godnonso shows up, comes to save the day, and she's here to tell you everything you need to get on your way. So, let us chat.
I gotta find peace of mind. I know now I have to face. I gotta find
Hello, welcome back to my channel. Sorry, I'm so cringy, but I'm new to this, so you're gonna get used to it. That's what it's gonna be. Today is a new day, and I decided that instead of doing a vlog, we're gonna change it up a bit, and we are going to talk about something that is kind of worrying, but also on the way. August is almost done, September is on its way, and in that new year, you know what it is. It's back to school, back to work, back to the job, back to the grind. It's the fall, so you gotta restart your life. And it is such a scary period, especially for those of you, especially my first years, the ones who just graduated from high school, who are now taking the step to move away to a new city, start university, rebuild the life they had known, because those 3-4 years of high school have now passed and you are back to the reset. And I remember how worried and fearful I was at that time of my life, and I'm past that now, and I decided, why not talk about the things I wish I had known and the things I think you should know now that you're at this new stage of life. First things first, before I begin my story here, I want to leave a couple disclaimers. If you are not in university or not taking higher education, I still think you should watch this video. I think there are so many things I am going to share that are very transferable to any job you are going to do. So whether or not you work in a different industry or whether you're doing trades, it does not matter. A lot of these skills are very helpful to build your life and create a pathway for yourself in whatever industry you're in. Second one is, if you are someone who is neurodivergent, a lot of my time productivity tips may not work for you, and that's totally fine. I am not, so I may not have the same perspective as you, so whatever you get from this, feel free to take it away and add it to whatever you're doing, but don't feel sad or disappointed or lost if you can't take some of these tips, or if you don't think they'll help you, because again, they're just stuff that has helped me. And on that note, these are all tips that have helped me. These are all things I have done to enhance my life, and it may not work for you, and if it doesn't, it's not your fault. These are just stuff that I've grown used to and I want to share. So I am not gospel. Take everything I say with a grain of salt, because you are your own person and you are going to discover your way anyway. So to give some context, my story is a bit weird, and it all started with the pandemic. I grew up in a small town in the province of Alberta in Canada. Now, no one ever hears about Alberta. Y'all are talking about Toronto and all of that, but it was in the prairies outside of, let's say, the metropolitan life here. And I grew up, again, in a very small, primarily white community. I felt very confined for a very long time. And graduating high school to me was my sign to get out of the trenches, especially after being in COVID and staying at home and, with my family, my parents all the time. And I love them. God knows I love them, but it was very tiring and stressful to be stuck in that environment for so long. At this point, I had no real idea of what I wanted to do. I'd become very lost. And as somebody who was known for being very type A, strategic with everything I did, this was probably the scariest part of that transition from being in high school to trying to find your way in university. Luckily, throughout the pandemic, since I was so bored, to be honest, that was what I was. I was bored. I tried to sign up for different leadership programs and mentorship programs, and I was just signing up for everything. I didn't even care what it was. I signed up for it immediately. And through that, I gained a little love for politics. I don't know, me just talking, arguing, all that stuff mixed really well. And I decided, let me try and see what it's like to work in politics. And while doing research, I stumbled upon something called the PAGE program, which was a federal program in the capital of Canada, which was across the country for me, where you were allowed to go work in the parliament and just support different politicians. Just a really great way to integrate yourself into the community. And there are PAGE programs across every country. I know there's one in the US in Washington. I know there's 2 on the Hill here for different sectors of the government. There's paid programs in different provinces, in different states. So if you are someone who wants to try looking into government stuff, I might make another video about that, talking about that. Anyway, got into the page program, made the jump, left my family. It was such a quick decision, and I moved across the country. And when I moved across the country, I met a bunch of new people, and it was very scary because I did not plan to move across the country. This was made in a 1-month span, and I was hit very quickly with so much change, especially coming from a smaller city, a smaller town. I had to restart. And through this, I learned a lot about myself because I had to rebuild the identity I had in my former home in this new place. And here are a couple things that I took away from it while going on this journey. Tip number 1, get familiar with the city you're moving to. And now I'm not saying map out your routes or map out your roads, I'm saying get familiar with it. Try and search the hobbies that you like, identify the locations you feel like you want to go to prior to moving to that place. You hear me? Prior, because me, myself, and I did not do that. I moved with no plan at all. And because of that, I didn't have time to center myself in the activities I liked. Prior to moving and when I was in high school, I was an athlete. I played basketball. I loved it so much. I was a part of debating and speaking. I didn't take the time to research what amenities existed in the city I am now. And unfortunately, when I arrived here, I felt very lost and out of place. And had I done that and researched a bit more about the city I was going to, I would have been able to easily identify with a location to start and then made friends through that. Having hobbies is the greatest way to start friendships because A, if you are in a hobby, you are automatically going to love doing it and you will enjoy being in that space, and B, you're naturally with people who enjoy the same thing. So you have something you share in common already to create a friendship. Also, reach out to people on those sites who are going to those schools. I ended up joining a lot of group chats for the university I go to that included different people in my year who were trying to make friends and who were trying to connect, who were all in the same boat as me, nervous, scared, and not sure how to communicate because we just left the pandemic. Join these groups, communicate with different people. Some of the first people I met when I moved were a group of girls that I had joined a group chat with, and we'd all come on the same day and we had dinner for the first night when my mom had just left. And a lot of those girls I'm friends with to this day because it was just that natural sense of love and just support that connected us together as one. And I don't know what I would have done had I not met those people when I first came here. Tip number 2, start the rebrand with intention. Now you're probably wondering what this means, but deep down you know. One thing I've noticed is when you reach a monumental point in your life, especially a transformative point in your life, we tend to want to change. I think it happens at different parts of your growth. Junior high school to high school, that shift, you were probably a different person. And high school to university, you want to change and shift to a different person because you've outgrown the identity you had prior. I know for myself, when I left high school, I left everything. Like I dropped a lot of the things, a lot of the behaviors, a lot of the people too, that I connected with in high school. Not because they were bad or anything like that, just because I had outgrown the person that I was before. And it's very beautiful to see yourself change and adapting. You went from your caterpillar to butterfly moment in that part, and you should. That's how it should be. However, those first 2 weeks of freshman year as a university student, very unstable because everybody is going through that change as well. And the one thing I wish I had done in that period of time is pinpointed the values of myself that I wanted to keep while changing the parts of myself I didn't. I feel like through that change, I'd lost connection with who I was, and I'd given it up in order to fit in with different people and make new friends because I was in need of people. I was in need of friends. I had nobody else. So I would attach to anything I saw without realizing that this isn't for me. And then unfortunately, when I did relax, I had realized what I had done, and then a lot of those friendships faded and disappeared because technically I was never a part of those friendships. I was never that person to begin with, and we all started realizing we had all shifted and changed and we weren't who we thought each other were. But the thing is, we were who we were. It was just that we hadn't settled into that being. I don't know if you get it. The whole point is, if you were going to rebrand yourself or change who you are, please pinpoint the values and the parts of yourself you want to keep. If you are someone who wants to stay away from substances, well, you should identify that prior to moving, to university, because you're going to be surrounded by them anyway. So by understanding who you are and who you want to become, you can then identify the people who you want to surround yourself with. Also, to pinpoint, just because you're doing this doesn't mean you have to cut everybody off. It's just about being able to center yourself and who you are to then continue to who you want to become. The next tip is something that you think is pretty self-explanatory, but I didn't take my own advice. So I'm gonna throw it out there anyway and see if anyone else takes it. Be open-minded. And that may sound simple, but I made it in the most drastic sense. As somebody who had a really big culture shift when they moved to their new location, I thought I was open-minded, and I was not. In fact, I was not open-minded at all. You are going to meet a lot of people who come from various spaces, and this is in any job, any location, any place you go to. So if you aren't open-minded to the new things you're going to interact with, you are going to miss opportunities for self-development and also for connection. I have made so many unconventional friendships over time because I was able to allow myself to be open-minded to new ideas I would have never entertained growing up. And a lot of the times you realize too the unconscious things you've brought along with you because you were raised in an environment that didn't entertain a lot of behaviors or ideas or philosophies that you're now hearing in this new space. And you will grow if you are able to dissect and analyze the parts of new ideas you want to take and those you don't understand. Surround yourself with people who have different mindsets than you. When you become very insulated in a group, you start to lose a sense of touch with the world around you, and you need to be able to adapt in order to grow in whatever industry, career, or life path you want to take in the future. Make sure that you are always challenging your own mindsets in every location you're in to ensure that you are prepared for when you have to do that upfront in a real world situation. Trust me on this one. Number 4 is follow you people out there who were top of their grades, top of their classes in high school, on top of the world in whatever industry, business they were in, and are about to shift to an entirely new thing. Set realistic expectations for yourself. Now, let me tell you a story. I was in my bag in high school. In my last year of high school, I was in my bag. I was on top of everything. I was ready for anything you threw at me. In fact, I was on my feet doing everything I could because in my head, I was like, I need to be really successful. I was doing my thing. And when I came to university, I thought I would be on top of the world. I thought I would be like, give me valedictorian right now for the university because you don't even know who you're at. However, my second term of first year was so rocky, and I'm not just talking about grades, I'm talking about my life. Just because I was coming down from that first year high in second term, and it was reflecting on everything I did in my job, in my work, in my mental health. You need to set realistic expectations for yourself to ensure that you are preserving your health. And I mean this in the way that you aren't supposed to be on top all the time. Your life needs to fluctuate in order for it to be deemed a life, okay? You need to be able to go through your ups and downs, and you aren't growing if you're not being challenged, if you're not failing and making errors in certain things. I once heard of the concept of hedonic adaptation, which is basically the idea that your worst points aren't actually that bad and your greatest points aren't actually that good. This new idea, I take it with me everywhere. When you fail and when you see yourself going to your lowest points, remember that it is never going to be your lowest point. And when you are doing super well, remember that that will never be your highest point. That is not the ceiling. If you keep your mindset that you are going to do the best you can for what is the best for you, and not for what anyone else would validate as good, you will be able to sail through, whatever career you take far more centered than not. The next tip is not to be afraid to approach people you admire in both senses. But the first sense I'm talking about is the school sense and the work sense. The greatest thing I came to realize, especially with, growing into adulthood, is that people want to help you. People want to help you. It is not like high school where there were senses of clickiness and animosity. I mean, I don't know about your high school, but my high school, there were senses of clickiness and animosity in some places, and you weren't sure who you can approach in certain things. When you are an adult, it's up to you to take that step. It is up to you to take that step to reach out to people. And there are so many people, trust me, there are so many people in your city who are doing cool things. I know you know there are so many people in that city who are doing cool things. However, you will never interact with them if you don't reach out, if you don't go out of your way to connect with those new people. Truthfully, the coolest, most incredible opportunities and experiences I've had is when I've taken that leap and that risk to reach out to someone I have seen on Instagram or, you know, heard about or listened to, and, you know, shown them that I was interested in learning from them and meeting them and becoming their friends. Do not feel awkward reaching out and trying to become friends with someone, especially with like friendship groups. I'm talking about when you go to class and someone has a really cool fit and you want to, you know, you're like, yo, that person dresses well, and you want to reach out and talk to them. Do it. Like, just go talk to them. And if you're someone who's anxious, I totally understand that, but take time, step away, and do what you need to do to build up that courage. If you can't do it in person, send them a message. Tell a friend who's more outgoing than you that you thought this person was cool. Have them help you connect with them. I really think that if you are able to step out of your comfort zone, it's the greatest way to make the most genuine friends. Strongest relationships I currently have in my life come from me taking a leap and going for an experience I didn't think was meant for me and doing it anyway. And by doing it anyway, I met people who admired the confidence I had to do that, but also wanted to be a part of my life, wanted to be a part of the journey they could see me on and the potential they already see within me. You aren't the only one taking it, and it makes you look really good if you are open to taking that first step. Tip 6, develop a routine. Now, this is not to say you need to be Ali Abdal and plan your life out block by block by block. You know, I'm not even at that level yet. I can't block everything yet. However, creating a routine or a pattern of some sort in an aspect of your life has helped center me so much, especially in days when I have no control over how my life will go. Last year, I worked 2 jobs. I was in school and I was trying to start my own side hustle business. Not even side hustle, it's a business now. I'm a freelancer. But I was trying to start my own business, and there were days when I couldn't even see right from left. Like I couldn't even count the minutes I had in my day because things were going out of hand. There was nothing I had control over, and those were the points when I felt I was losing handle on my life. One thing that helped me kind of not conquer it, but kind of sort that out was creating a simple routine for my night. I would make a playlist I would go to bed to. I would set a time when I wanted to go to bed. I would wind down the exact same way, 20-minute book, 20-minute stretch, and then I would go to bed, and it takes me exactly 15 minutes to fall asleep per my Apple Watch. Waking up the next day, 100% more refreshed, because there was a sense of routine in your life. And you will realize your first year you will not have much control, and that is totally okay. Life sometimes won't allow you to. However, controlling aspects of your day, whether it's how you wake up, how you go to bed, you know, whether it's taking time out of your day to just relax, take a nap, whatever it is, having a routine will help center aspects of your life so much. And it will allow you to take time to reflect on what you need to do, what you haven't done, and how you want to approach doing that thing. Tip number 7 is more of a reminder that we tend to forget, especially when you are surrounded by a lot of people your age who are invigorated and open and around you all the time, and especially those of you in residence, you're gonna feel this for sure, who are always around you and doing stuff and going out, and you're starting to feel FOMO. Solitude is not the enemy. Let's repeat this together. Solitude is not the enemy. Being alone does not mean you are lonely. Being alone just means you're alone. And that time to yourself is so powerful. It is so necessary to recalibrate and to identify with yourself. We are a generation that is always surrounded by noise, whether it's the TV, the music, the humming, the cars, the beeping, the talking, the chatter, the crowds. We have noise everywhere. There are some weeks where I've never gone in silence. Even our silence is noisy. When you are alone, do not see this as you being void of people. It is you being filled by yourself. And you should use that time as much as possible. I remember in that second term of my first year, when everything felt like it was going downhill, there were times when I was always alone, and I used to think that was the worst thing ever. I would be in my dorm and I would be on my bed by myself, and I'd hear outside the city moving without me. I would hear through my window the other people talking and the other residents talking and laughing and enjoying each other, and I've never felt more lonely. But the thing I didn't realize is that I had one of the most important people in my life with me. I had myself. And I didn't use that time at all to take count of, where I was and who I was. And it wasn't until I was at my lowest point that I finally sat with myself and brought myself back to reality, that just because I'm alone does not mean I'm lonely. I have people who care. I have people around me all the time. But it shouldn't be a constant. It shouldn't be the thing that defines who I am as an individual. My existence shouldn't be validated by the fact that I'm a part of something. I'm a part of every other person. It should be validated by me. It should be my choice on who, how, and when I want to be a part of something, not the choice of my ego or my doubt or my fears. Being alone is the time where you can really identify where you are in your life at that point. You can identify if you need to surround yourself with people more or if you need to retract. And I learned so much in those moments of solitude. I learned more in those moments of solitude than I did in weeks of being around people. The only time I think you should really reach out, not the only time, one of the only times you should really reach out though, is when your loneliness shifts to depression. And that leads me to my last and final point. If you are hurting, if you are struggling, please talk to somebody. Please talk to somebody. I know last year and this year I lost a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of people go who couldn't talk to people. And a lot of it was in university and was in even my career too, where you become so locked into the grind of trying to be the best and do your best and make everybody proud and make your family happy that you forget the one person who can accomplish all these things. In my second term, when I was at my lowest point, I didn't tell anybody. And it got to the point where I had to just book a flight home, like a next day flight home. I live 5 hours away by flight, and I called into work and said, I'm not gonna come in, I need a week. And I distanced myself from everybody. I just had to go back to my family and gain that love that I didn't feel I had where I was. If you are in university, tap into the resources available to you. Your schools have counseling sessions, and I'll attach the Ottawa one below because that's the school I'm in, and any other ones I do know of. And there are open helplines and open call lines for any youth who are feeling alone, who are feeling that they need someone to talk to. Talking it out, whether it be with a friend, a roommate, a counselor, whoever it is, it does a lot. It does a lot to shift that burden from yourself to another person who may be able to help you lay the weight down. So please, please, please talk to somebody when you're at your lowest point. There's always someone to help. And even if you feel like there isn't, speaking does do a lot to alleviate the stress upon you. Also, do not forget to reach out to your friends, especially in moments when you're feeling down, because you'd be surprised how a lot of energy is exchanged in the same way. So even when you're feeling down, it's most likely a friend of yours may be going through stuff, and everyone is always going through things, and we tend to get very self-centered in our own issues. So reach out to somebody if you think that, they look off or you haven't heard from them in a while, and you know, things don't seem right, because I also missed a lot of friends who were in need of support because I was so caught up in my own stuff. Not to blame myself and not to blame them for not telling me, but if you feel like something is off within you, it's highly likely it's off within another person as well. Other than that, these are a couple tips that I think you should take in when you are beginning your new journey. They have nothing to do with academia really. I think these are more important before getting to the academia side. However, my next video I will focus purely on academia, so we can talk about how to focus on enhancing your school skills and becoming the academic warrior that you are. This mini-series is something I feel like is super important, especially for my friends out there who are going to start going to school and who are going to start getting into jobs. Hello, editing nonso is here. I completely forgot to record a conclusion and I don't know why, so I'll just do one right now. Thank you so much for watching the video. I really appreciate it. I think the mini-series in terms of the Let's Chat series I'm trying to create will really focus on academia, career building, and just how to navigate really difficult spaces as someone who is marginalized, as a Black woman. And I want it to be something that is open for conversation. I don't want it to be something I just do on my own. I want to be able to talk about it. I want to hear everyone else's experiences. So if there's any specific thing you'd like me to talk about as I go through this little series throughout my time here on YouTube, please comment below, send me a direct message. I want to know what I can offer, and I want to learn too from you and your experiences. Thank you again. I'm so happy to have shared this video. All the links I talked about within that video will be below inside my description box, including the helplines and any other resources I think are super important for this journey. But I can't wait for you guys to start your school experiences, for you to take over your new careers. I have no doubt in your ability to succeed, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye. Wait, don't go. Just because I care, please take time out of your day to congratulate yourself on some of the accomplishments you've had this week. I know you don't think they're accomplishments, but they are. You woke up this week, you're looking great, you're smiling, your skin looks nice. Take time, enjoy yourself, and then come back.